Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing. It is Monday, the 22nd of July. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this morning by Stevie Clifford. How is it going, Stevie?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Good morning to you and to everyone watching. I suppose it's probably a good time to tell them that we're slightly late because your internet froze, and we're now terrified that this might be at some point during this show another solo effort from me. So the way I'm feeling after Saturday's trip to Murrayfield, mate, you really don't want that. So let's let's hope that doesn't happen to us this morning. But ready to go. There's a lot to go through, I think.
There absolutely is. Just be ready for me dropping out. If I freeze at any point, then you know that you are up on the oche. Anyway, before we get to all things Rangers, just a quick word for our podcast sponsors, MPH Boilers. If your boiler is on its last legs, folks, then give these guys a call. They've got those brilliant Viessmann boilers on offer. They're the family-run business covering all of mainland Scotland, award-winning as well. And the all-important links are in the description below. Right, where shall we start now? There's the Champions League draw later on this morning, which we'll find out who Rangers will face as Stevie draws a sharp intake of breath, you and me both. So we'll discuss that. We'll discuss the latest transfer news. But before we do that, Rangers had a game at the weekend. It wasn't the best, it's fair to say. Stevie, you were there at Murrayfield. Man Utd second string, putting Rangers to the sword quite easily, really, by 2-0. Wasn't much to shout about, really. What was your main takeaways from the game?
Right, okay.
Where do we start?
Main takeaways, Derek, is the forward line's absolutely dreadful, but we'll come to that, I think, in a minute. Try and be a little bit positive in that I thought that front to middle, we were okay. Not great, because clearly we still need a centre half. I think that's clear. I thought that Ben Davies and John Souttar did okay, fine, but ultimately with Ben Davies, he's a nice player, Derek. Good with the ball at his feet, good positionally. He done a lot of interceptions, I think, but what he was doing at the first goal, to come out, get beat in the jump. What he was doing at the second goal when he just steps up and away out and lets the boy, he creates, because he comes up and Souttar, they're like that, basically like apart, and the boy just runs in the middle for an easy through ball. So it's moments like that that I can't trust Ben Davies with. And although, look, he's a nice player and he'll do okay in the majority of games in Scotland, he'll be fine. But ultimately, he's really just not good enough. So that was my concern. Left back, I thought Hefty was all over the place defensively. He couldn't handle Diallo, who's a good player, but he showed him on his side far too many times, and he was very easy to beat. Dujon Sterling did good at right back against Jadon Sancho. I thought that was a kind of plus point out of the defence. Butland didn't have loads to do, and Diamande and Barron, I thought, were busy. At times, passed the ball really well, little triangles, little moments in between themselves. And that's where it stops, Derek. That's where it stops. On our front line, the best performing player was Scott Wright, and I think that speaks volumes. Created a couple of opportunities, and, with a better front man, he might have got it. But this is where it becomes really difficult. First of all, you sent me a picture last week of my face when Tom Lawrence was suggested for a 1-year contract extension, and it kind of became a meme with all the boys on the chats and stuff. Well, that's how I felt watching him at the weekend. He's slow, he's turgid, he can't press, he can't get a through ball, he wants too much time on the ball. And Tom Lawrence, look, is a good player, but he's not going to be a good player for us because he just doesn't have the legs and he doesn't have the pace. And I know that, and I like him because he can take a good shot, and not many of us can. And I like that part about him. But if you're brutally honest, Tom Lawrence is not good enough for us. He's not mobile enough. And when we're trying to press, right, what happens is, and you've seen it countless times at the weekend, Barron and Diamande are picking up the guys they should be. So Barron was picking up Mason Mount, and that left Diamande to pick up on the other side. But the one that dropped in was always spare and always free. And you could see Barron and Diamande literally screaming for the front two to drop in. and neither of them have got the legs. And that meant that Lawrence was basically in a floating position doing nothing.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have the legs to get back and he doesn't have the legs to get forward. So he's just a bit in no man's land. So that can become beneficial. He had a couple of snapshots because he was really kind of just floating about, but he offered nothing. And then further forward, I'm sorry to say, Cyril Dessers was as bad as I've seen him. Touch-wise, control. He looked leggy. He looked off it. And his touch, like he was like a pinball machine, Derek. Anytime it got near him, it bounced off him. And simple little 5-yard passes and stuff, he was dreadful. He was absolutely dreadful. Slow, poor touch, didn't bring anything in. If you've got a 9 like that who's immobile, right, put it like that, you at least want him to be able to hold it up, distribution to be good. But there was times where we broke and he couldn't even make a 5-yard pass. And the first goal comes from the fact that we break and he can't roll it 5 yards to Cortez. And Cortez, on the times that he did break, and he was having to track back on the left-hand side, he didn't have a great game. But in the times when he did break and we got into those positions, the movement in front of him, Derek, was horrific. He's got absolutely nothing there. And let's be honest, call a spade an absolute spade. If we're going to Tynecastle in a couple of weeks and we're relying on Lawrence and Dessers, it's going to be a long afternoon. And no offence, Scott Wright on the right-hand side, that's problematic as well. So, yeah, listen, I did not enjoy that performance at the weekend at all. Barron and Diamandi were really the plus points. There was some really good movement between them. They popped it off a few times really well. Little triangles, I really quite enjoyed that. But performance-wise, up until that last third, Derek, really troublesome, really troublesome. There's nothing there. It's powder puff. And there's no energy. And I think that's just to kind of ramble on. I seen you'd frozen there, so I had to ramble a wee bit.
No, I'm back. I heard everything, Stevie. Just yeah, I'm sure you were sweating there as I froze.
Oh, I was frozen in thought, just like I was trying to watch his attack on Saturday. I was watching Connor Barron on Saturday quite closely, and immediately thought the reason I already like him is because he's energetic, right? And he brings energy, and he's biting into challenges and stuff like that. Now, I've seen people say that Connor Barron might not be good enough, and he might not be technical enough, and he might not be have the levels that we really need. He might not be as skillful as people in the past, and I think they're right. But how bad is it, Derek, when we instantly like a guy because he runs about?
I know.
And brings energy. That's the levels we're at. And the issue that I've got with Clement, right, is that Clement is very, very rigid on how he wants to play. So we've got to have a 10.
Well,
now,
carry on, yeah.
Yeah, right. So Tom Lawrence hasn't got it. Hadji isn't energetic enough to play how he wants to play. And he doesn't like Todd Cantwell because Todd Cantwell's a free spirit. He wants to go in there and roam about and everything else.
Yeah.
But the issue with that is he doesn't do a press either because he runs where he wants to run and he doesn't run where the manager wants him to go. And that's the issue with our 10s. We've got no 10s. I'm at the point, Derek, where I would rather watch Alex Lowry just so that I can see if there's anything with him. And I'm not sure that Alex Lowry's really done enough to benefit or to be able to get that chance. But I would rather watch him than watch Tom Lawrence, who I think is just miles off it. You know, and it's just, and people will come on and say, oh, you don't like Tom Lawrence and stuff. It's just my eyes are just telling me that this guy is just not good enough. He's just not pacey enough. And the front line, Derek, look, front line's criminally bad. You know, Danilo, we're going to have to kind of nurture along a wee bit, but already looked, you know, better in the 10-minute cameo or whatever he had. He had a nice bicycle kick. Probably should have not put it straight at the goalkeeper, but at least it's an effort on target and at least it's a kind of snapshot. And I don't want to come on here and blame everything on Cyril Dessers, and it's certainly not, because I think our 10 is badly lacking. And it's not suddenly something, Derek, that I've came up with. We've been going on about a 10 for a long time, haven't we?
Yeah, my point is, I was on with Joshua, I can't remember what, last week sometime, and I said I'd scrap the 10. I'd get rid of the 10, Steve. There's no one there to fill that role.
You're totally right, but this is my point about Clement. He's so rigid that he goes with a 10 no matter what. And we don't have a 10 that's energetic enough.
No.
And also, let's put this bluntly, we don't have a 10 that's capable of doing what Clement wants him to do. The press, the movement, getting close to the forward line, dropping in to pick up the spare man. It's not revolutionary. You're just asking a 10 to do what a 10 should be doing. The amount of times that Barron and Diamandi were screaming and pointing, drop in, and they just didn't have the legs. So if they dropped in, by the time they dropped in, Rangers maybe recovered. They then couldn't get forward to get into any sort of position. It just, that final third for me, Derek, is massively troublesome. Massively troublesome. And when you come to the league, you know, you'll maybe get away with it at times because when teams drop in, we'll be so high up that you can kind of compact that space and it means that it's not there. But in a game that's stretched and you've got somebody coming onto you, like a European game, which is why I laughed at our Champions League prospects.
Yeah.
You get a game like that where a team doesn't sit in and we can't compress that middle and you need legs to be able to stretch it because Man United weren't deep, right? And they didn't sit in. So they played an expansive game and they were young, they were quick. And that's why we couldn't cope with them because they were properly spaced out. It wasn't all where we could just sit and camp in on top of them. And that's the issue we've got. And if we come up against teams like that, if Hearts, for example, play that way and we go up there with that forward line, it's going to be difficult to watch. And it's just, listen, Cyril Desser's done incredibly well to get 22 goals last year, and I understand all that, but he doesn't pass the eye test. Tom Lawrence will pitch in with the odd occasional wonder strike and everything else, but he's not good enough. Yanis Hadji, Sam Lammers, Todd Cantwell is not part of the manager's plans. He's playing in the B team on Saturday, and I think that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
So we've got real issues with this squad, and we need fixes quickly, Derek, within the next couple of weeks, and then you're needing to throw them in and expect them to do well, and it's just
a race against time. I know. It's
Listen, I said to you last week, right, and I'm not going to revolutionise anything. I said I'm quite happy with the business we've done, and we shouldn't distract away from what is 6 okay bits of business, and we'll see ultimately how good they are.
Yeah.
And I said all that, but that's on
We
the
need
provision. And the context to that, Derek, is, and the provision to that is you've still got another 12 deals to do. I'm talking about 6 in, 6 out. And that's where we are. If you say to me, and I said this last week, if we get to the end of August and this is our business, I'm worried. But we need drastic changes to this squad, and probably quicker than I thought. And that was a real eye opener for me on Saturday. A real eye opener.
Yeah. We wanted to see a bit of just something to sort of latch onto, a bit of improvement from last weekend against Ajax, but it certainly generated, I think, more questions than answers over the course of the weekend.
Sorry, Derek. Sorry. Just to kind of go back on it slightly, the positives of the weekend is Diamandi and Barron, right?
Yeah.
If you get a 10 in there, somebody that can actually move more than what I can. If you get a 10 in there like that, that's potentially decent. Needs to be energetic, needs to be somebody that's and these players aren't easy to find, but if you get somebody in there like that who can follow direction, who can drop in, who can quickly go on the transition, stuff like that, that might be not bad. You might be able to do something in there. But that's your big positive from Saturday. I don't want to sit here and say, everything was terrible, but I've got to be honest. Sterling at right back looked like he could be okay and handled Jadon Sancho quite well. So it's the end bit. It's the final third where there's absolutely nothing. And that's the biggest issue, mate. And I don't want to, I know that I've came on here for the last 12 minutes and slated them. It's not supposed to be that. It's just an observation on what I've seen. And I can't come on here and say, I can't come on here, Derek, and say with good faith and intention that, what, it'll be all right and we'll be ready for Time Castle in a couple of weeks. That's not the case. And I don't think it's what anyone's sitting here thinking either.
Yeah. Now we're live on Instagram now. Some of the interesting comments coming in on there. I'll read out a few of them. Presso says Tom Lawrence is past it. Dessers must go. Don't think Danilo is the answer either. Aldo as well gets in touch. He says, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Hearts arguably have a stronger squad than us. And a lot of people saying that, the league lot of people saying the league is going to be a struggle this. Yeah.
What I would Derek's frozen, so we knew this was going to happen. I don't know if Derek's still speaking or you guys can hear him, but I'm going to try and go with it. What I would say in the league is what I'm genuinely looking for.
There, he's back. Yeah, sorry, Steve. I don't know when you lost me there.
Derek, it wasn't quite as quick as I'd lost my enthusiasm on Saturday, but it was quick enough. What I was going to say in response to that comment about Hearts and the league and everything else, look, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat this. I think the league's going to be a real struggle if things don't move in the next couple of weeks. Ever the optimist, I think things are beginning to move, and we'll get to that. But
yeah,
if we go with this team at the moment, then yeah, it's going to be a struggle. And look, I've battened down the hatches a wee bit, Derek, with regards to August. We go away to Hearts, Motherwell, Ross County, away to Celtic, right? See if we manage to get 9 points out of August, I think we'll want to watch. And it might just be a case of trying to temper our expectations a wee bit. I think 9 at the moment would be absolutely wonderful. 3 wins. And yeah, that might sound a wee bit defeatist, but I'm going on what I see. Champions League qualifiers, I'm not exactly looking forward to.
No.
And that's a real issue. Can we get through the cup game as well? I think it's a case of trying to batten down the hatches a wee bit. We need to go to Tynecastle and somehow get through that. But that might be beneficial if they're coming and we're underdogs, etc. I don't know. I'm grasping a wee bit saying that, but yeah. Listen, when people are saying, that it's looking dodgy and stuff like that, yeah, I think maybe it does, but I also think it can change very quickly. You need 2 or 3 going out and 2 or 3 coming in that's really going to make the difference. Yeah, and I don't think we should be idly kind of sitting waiting. It's not a case of Connor Goldson's off, right? Let's go and start looking. We should know James Tavernier goes, Connor Goldson goes, Yanis Hadji goes. These are deals that I'm thinking, judging by things that have been said and little bits that's going on, that might be in the offing. If they boys go, you're freeing up 100 grand a week immediately and possibly more. We should be ready to react to that. We should have things in place.
No, I know.
It's ready to go. And we've been linked with so many players that you're wondering if these deals are in place, that as soon as 1, 2, 3 go, we can just go and move. And you're counting on a lot. You're counting on them turning up and being ready to go, and just, you're shoving them in a team, and after 1 or 2 days training, it looks like. And yeah, I understand that completely isn't ideal, but that's the situation, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely is. Right, let's talk transfers then, Stevie, because big rumour yesterday, of course, was Connor Goldson was charting a private jet over to Cyprus, and it sparked a bit of a few rumours suggesting where is he going. I was informed to see rumours last night that, and I know that the Aris Limassol, Connor Goldson was a target for them. That went quiet the last couple of weeks, so I'm not entirely sure if that is a move that I could see happening. But I know that they are keen on him. But he's heading out to Cyprus. And now, if he's heading out to Cyprus, Stevie, at this juncture, I don't think it's for a family holiday.
No, it's not. I was going to say something funny there, but it's not really worth it because nobody's looking for a joke at this moment in time. What I've heard, Derek, is he's flying out to take a medical, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the team that he's flying out to plays in Cyprus.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to find out more. If he's at that stage, that means we've accepted a bid. That means he's accepted a contract. You don't do a medical before any of that happens. So we're well down the line. And you'll know the amount of times, Derek, that I've kind of maybe confirm things online or whatever else. The medical's the last thing. Your medical comes just before you sign the deal.
Yeah.
And it's normally a medical down south for us, and then the boys drive up and then they do their media stuff and things like that. So if he is away out to do a medical, and it's all speculation at the moment, it's all rumour and it's things that we might be hearing, then he's close to the door. So, and if you consider James Tavernier's situation, which James Tavernier is subject to a bid being rejected, and they're going to come back in again, judging by the reports for that over in Turkey and things like that. If he's at the stage where he has got there also, then, accepting contracts and waiting for bids and stuff, then that's also close. And then you consider Yanis Hadji's agent at the weekend. Now, I know he's a bit of a blowhard. He speaks a lot, Yanis Hadji's agent.
Yeah.
But he also said, he speaks a lot, doesn't he? But Yanis has got a year left in his contract. And he's basically said that, he's on a lot of money, but there's loads of teams in for him and want him, and he's not expected to go back to the Rangers. If that's the case, then, that's close within the next couple of weeks as well. I would say that I was under the illusion that Yanis Hadji had 2 years left, but apparently he's only got one. And with that being the case, you might end up having to accept, and people will shout at me for this, but you might have to accept a lot less than what we were maybe looking for. I was looking for $3 million for Yanis Hadji.
Yeah,
you might have to accept half of that if we're lucky, just to get him out the door. So the biggest issue we've got is, once these guys go, they're the most obvious ones, I think, that we can try and get out the door. It's Shifton, Dowell, Lawrence, Lammers, Scott Wright, Rabbi Matondo, these guys that are your middle ones. It might be a case of you shift 3, 4, 5 in this window, and then January and next summer you move the other ones. So this isn't a project maybe, and I'm trying to spitball and just look at all options. This might not be one we can do this summer. I still think there's a lot of business. I still think a dozen deals in and out is realistically where I want to be. And I think the squad needs that. But see, when we do get the chance to spend money, Derek, and I mean this, it has to be right.
I know.
We have to, whoever we've got waiting to come in as our number 9, Christ, they have to be mobile. They have to be able to finish. They have to have a touch. And that 10, is a position as well. There's so much wrong with that squad that how do you prioritize? Like, we need a spine, you need a centre half, you need a 10, you need a 9, you need some wingers. You know what I mean? You need there's so much business there to be done. You need 5 guys coming in and being able to click and hit straight on, and that's so difficult to do. But we've got to do it. Otherwise, see, everybody is saying we're struggling and sitting here like the prophet of doom saying that, we're looking bad and everything else. That's the conversation that we're going to be having in a month's time, in the middle of this August, going to Parkhead, saying this is going to be really difficult to watch. Never mind, to go and play and to actually watch and survive this. So that's the situation brutally that we're in. And it needs some strong, decisive action. The board have to support Clement. That's the long and short of it, is that he is on a hiding to nothing with this squad, and he needs support. And calling them out a wee bit, we need to find a way to give him that, because if you're sending him into battle with this squad and with these players, then we will fail. He will fail, and the same managerial situation will become obvious. Yeah, at the end of September, when everybody's going mad because we can't pick up wins, because he's basically trying to polish a turd. Excuse the French, but this squad is awful, Derek. And I've long since said to you, and this isn't a change in tact, and I've sat here and people will have read it and they will have listened to me saying that, we joke about Clement having a magic wand, or as he calls it, a magic stick. He has massively, massively punched above his weight to manage to bring in a trophy and get this squad in a title race, because this squad is done. It's beyond done, and it needs massive, massive work to it. Things can change quickly, but it's going to need a whole lot of luck and a good end to that window to make that happen.
And players hitting the ground running. We need players that can come in for the here and now. I know that the manager did say he'll be looking to bring in experience when he spoke. I think it was either to Rangers TV or to Chris over at the training camp in the Netherlands a couple of weeks ago. But time is certainly ticking on that one. But it will be interesting to see where Connor Goldson's likely destination is going to be. But like you say, Stevie, if he's at the medical stage of a deal, then that seems to suggest that his time at Rangers is nearing an end. Where it will be, we know there was interest in Saudi, whether it's there or elsewhere. who knows? But yeah, we'll keep you posted, folks, as soon as we find out what is going on with regards to that one. Lots of comments coming in, as you can imagine. Freddie Faulkner, with a point here, says, are we trying to sell Cantwell too? Todd Cantwell is someone I think I would you be surprised to see him being part of the squad in a couple of weeks going to Tynecastle, Stevie?
At the rate we're selling players, no. But I would be surprised if Todd Cantwell had a long-term future at Rangers. I'd be surprised if Todd Cantwell survives past this window. I think it's quite obvious the manager doesn't like him.
Yeah.
I think it's quite obvious that even in little altercations that they've had, that he's not his biggest fan. So I think it's a real shame. Todd Cantwell's a guy I like. He's a player that I like, but he clearly doesn't fit in to what Philip Clement is trying to do. I would have liked to have seen Todd Cantwell with a semi-competent striker in front of him who could actually make a run, who could finish, who could control. I don't think he's had that. I think that Todd Cantwell probably would have had more numbers and things if he'd had that as well, but I don't think that Todd Cantwell overly has massively helped his health with his performances either. So do I think we're trying to sell him? You just need to look at what we can see, which is right in front of us. Todd Cantwell's playing Queen's Park on Saturday, while we've got Manchester United, and Alex Lowry and stuff is getting in front of him. So, yeah, not a criticism of Alex Lowry, but on the kind of pecking order, it doesn't really speak too much volumes of where Todd Cantwell is, does it, Derek? So
no,
I wouldn't expect him to survive, no.
Yeah.
Just about finding somebody to buy him, though, isn't it? Sorry, just to
Exactly.
interject slightly, but we need to find a buyer for him as well. So,
yeah. Just on the issue of who's leading the line, of course, Rangers have got another game on Wednesday. CGM 55 says it. Who starts at 9 on Wednesday? Clement said the team would be the guys who didn't start on Saturday. Danilo looked miles away from starting, and of course, no Hamza Egeman either just yet. So, looks like Big Serial maybe leading the line once again on Wednesday, Stevie. But I totally agree with you. Rangers need a proper killer up front, somebody that can control the ball. I don't mind Serial Dessers hanging around, incidentally, if he's happy being a squad player, coming off the bench, contributing here and there. But he cannot be relied upon if Rangers have got designs, ambitions of going on and winning the championship this season.
I'm just laughing there because that's how low our bar is. We need a number 9 that can control the ball. Like, never mind the fact that we need a 9 that can actually finish strong in the air,
basics.
Fully a defender, can make a run, has got a turn of pace. No, we just want a guy that can control the ball. That's how bad we are at the moment, and that's what's done to us. And I'll tell you something else, Derek. If I rock up in Birmingham on Wednesday night and the big man's leading the line again, I don't think I can take it anymore, because I'm not spending 6 hours in a car like I am down there just to watch that happen once more. And I know we're catching up for a wee bit of dinner and everything else. It better be a bloody good dinner if that's what we're going to have to watch. So, no, Danilo will start during the week. And I know people have said Danilo's miles away and stuff like that. But listen, I'm at the stage of just sheer hope when it comes to Danilo that he is going to be what we need now. He came off the back of a difficult pre-season. He then got, at the time where he was starting to look like he was getting energetic and mobile the way he should be, he gets absolutely leathered at St Johnstone. He's out for 2 months, and then he's back for a wee bit, starts to look decent at Hearts, and gets that awful challenge from behind. But I'm still amazed, goes so far, so under the radar. It cost us our £6 million striker for 7 months, and nobody even batted an eyelid on it. So I'm at the stage of just sheer hope with Danilo that he is going to be this, white knight up front, because we need him to be. And I'm not ready to believe that he might not be good enough yet. So I think that it might be a case of we need a 9, and he's going to play round about him, and he's going to get minutes, and he's going to be the one that we can kind of nurture along a wee bit. But that front line needs big work, Derek. So Danilo for me is a case of just watching, hoping and praying that he's got something about him. And I think he does. I think he does, but I also think we'll need to be mightily patient with him. Well,
I'm concerned the injury is going to affect him. I know when he gave that interview to Chris, I'd urge you to check it out, folks. It's over on the website. He spoke about sort of second guessing himself because his knee, and I just hope that we've seen so many players at Ibrox suffer knee injuries and they've not come back anywhere near the same level that they were playing at beforehand. So I just hope that Danilo bucks the trend and he can hit the ground running and bang the goals in. But jury's certainly out on Danilo, there's no doubt about it. Scott B gets in touch. When is the Champions League draw? I think it's 11 a.m. This morning. Scott, now this is who Rangers could face in the third qualifying round.
Cheer us up, Derek. Get the teams up. That's
it. So Rangers are seeded, which is a good thing, I guess.
Derek's obviously seen the teams that we could potentially draw in the Champions League and just left. I don't know if he's frozen for everyone else, folks, but he's certainly frozen for me. Fenerbahce is the only team
for their money. I've just frozen again there, so apologies, folks.
I thought you just saw the teams, mate, and left. So I didn't blame you at all. So you need to start from the very start. I don't think anybody would have got any of that. So
yeah, so the Rangers are seeded, so they will avoid Slavia Prague, Red Bull Salzburg, and Lille. They could face their old friends Union Saint-Gilloise of Belgium, FC 20 of the Netherlands, Lugano of Switzerland, or Fenerbahce, the winners of that game, or the winners of Dynamo Kiev and Partizan Belgrade. So all those teams, Stevie, I would be concerned about Rangers facing in their current state. I have got to admit. I'll tell you when those games will take place. The third qualifying round will take place on the July the 23rd or July 20. When is it? July.
No, it better not be July the 23rd.
That's the Lugano, Fenerbahce, and Partizan. Dynamo first legs are this week, the 23rd and 24th. Second leg next week. Rangers enter the stage at the third qualifying round and will play either August 6th or 7th with the return leg on August the 13th. So that is when Rangers will try and negotiate these Champions League qualifiers. But I think it's going to be a tough task, Stevie.
Oh, well, that's stating the obvious a wee bit, isn't it? So, yeah. Listen, without sitting here I can only be honest. I think it would be disingenuous to sit here and try and tell everybody that we've got a chance or it would be good and everything else. And any of those teams would beat us. Any of them. And I think that we're so painful in the last third that we would have trouble getting anything out of anybody. There's the old adage that we might have been able to take them back to Ibrox with a close defeat or whatever and turn that over and get the crowd going. But is it going to be the same at Hampden? I'm not sure. There's the same kind of electricity there. I'm not sure. I just think that there's a level of, I don't know if it's realism at the moment with what I saw at the weekend, but it was just, look, we got beat by a bunch of kids off of Manchester United, a bunch of reserves, and you looked at every one of them and you thought to yourself, yeah, I would take that wee guy on loan. I would take the boy Hannibal straight away. You know, you would sit him in, no bore. You would take that striker because do you know what? Do you know what was so lovely about that goal that they scored? The movement of that young lad up front. Hugo, I think, scored the second one. The movement of that lad is run. First time finish, Derek. Didn't bother. No trying to round the goalie 18 times or take on the boy or chop back in left, right, centre. Just leathered it and off the bar. It was beautiful. Wee bit of pace, wee bit of movement, wee bit of running. And I just thought to myself, that's the level I'm at where a reserve guy from Manchester United can do something that I've not seen my striker do in so long. And you reverse back to the first half in that game against Manchester United when Cyril Dessers couldn't beat Johnny Evans in a foot race. Mm-hmm. So that's the difficulty I had. But that's the stage we're at. And if we can't do that against a bunch of inexperienced kids, Will Fish on loan at Hibs last season who dominated and stuff like that, if we're at that stage, Derek, then forget about this Champions League draw. Let's just be clear about that. You know, Clement's taking us in there and he's not only got two hands tied behind his back, his legs are tied, his whole body's tied up by the situation this is. So I expect absolutely nothing. If you end up getting somebody like Fenerbahce and Mourinho, it could be extremely painful.
Yeah. I was going to say I'm looking forward to it, but yeah, a tad apprehensive, I've got to say. Yeah, they're going to be tough hurdles for Rangers to pass. Of that, there is no doubt. Right, before we go off, Tenzel says, Derek, sponsored by Dessers & Co. Wi-Fi Services Limited. Nearly get to finish your Zoom, but not quite. So, yeah, we love a bit of comedy on the show. But yeah, apologies for the old Wi-Fi this morning, folks. It's been a tad temperamental over the past day or so. Before we wrap up, just a big shout out. I met a big fan of the Rangers Review. I was at a 40th back in Hamilton on Friday. So big shout out to big George Shepherd, who I met at Edward Bowling Club, no less. So it was good to meet you, George, and thank you for tuning in on a weekday morning. Right, that'll do us there. Big thanks to Stevie as ever. Thank you to you all for tuning in. I think those of you that are Rangers Review Extra subscribers, I think we'll do a Q&A a little bit later on this afternoon, so we hope you can join us for that. I'm speaking to someone tomorrow on Joan Jordan, the Sevilla midfielder that Rangers had a loan bid knocked back last weekend. So we'll get a bit of insight into him, his situation at Sevilla, all that sort of stuff. So that will be tomorrow, so something to keep your eyes peeled for there. And if there's any transfer news breaking, if you hear anything, folks, keep your eyes peeled on the social media channels, the YouTube, and also the website as well for all the latest coming out of Ibrox. Right, thanks for tuning in. We'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye for now.